The heroic Stork in the picturesque village of Willowbrook, where the willow trees swayed gently by the river and the meadows bloomed with wildflowers, lived a stork named Stefan. Stefan was known throughout the village for his grace and strength, his long, elegant wings carrying him effortlessly across the skies. But it was his kind heart and unwavering courage that truly set him apart. Willowbrook had always been a peaceful place, where the villagers and animals lived in harmony. Stefan had grown up listening to the stories of his ancestors, who had once migrated across vast distances, braving storms and dangers to find safe havens. Inspired by these tales, he had vowed to protect his village and its inhabitants. One summer, as the sun blazed high in the sky and the river sparkled like a ribbon of silver, a terrible drought struck Willowbrook. The once bountiful fields turned dry and barren, and the river's water level began to drop alarmingly. The villagers grew anxious, their faces etched with worry as their crops withered and their livestock grew weak. Stefan watched the unfolding crisis with a heavy heart. He knew he had to do something to help his beloved village. One evening, as he perched on the highest branch of a willow tree, he overheard a conversation between the elder storks. "The source of the river lies high in the mountains, beyond the great forest," one of the elders said. "It is said that a hidden spring feeds the river, but it has been blocked by a massive boulder. Unless the boulder is moved, the drought will continue." Determined to save his village, Stefan resolved to find the hidden spring and remove the boulder. He knew the journey would be perilous, but his heart was filled with courage. At dawn the next day, he spread his wings and set off towards the mountains, the hopes of Willowbrook resting on his broad shoulders. The journey was long and arduous. Stefan flew over dense forests, crossed wide rivers, and climbed steep mountain slopes. The air grew thin and cold as he ascended, but he pressed on, driven by his sense of duty and love for his village. Along the way, he encountered various animals who offered him guidance and support. In the heart of the great forest, Stefan met an old, wise owl named Oliver. "I've heard of your quest, brave stork," Oliver said, his golden eyes gleaming with wisdom. "The path to the hidden spring is treacherous, but you have the strength and determination to succeed. Follow the path of the setting sun, and you will find what you seek." Stefan thanked Oliver and continued his journey. The forest was dense and shadowy, but he navigated through it with skill and perseverance. After several days of travel, he finally reached the base of the mountains. The peaks loomed high above him, their snow-capped summits glowing in the sunlight. Undeterred by the daunting climb ahead, Stefan began his ascent. The rocky terrain was challenging, and the cold wind whipped against his feathers, but he pressed on. As he climbed higher, he saw signs of the hidden spring, small streams trickling down the mountainside, their waters clear and pure. At last, after many days of climbing, Stefan reached the source of the river. There, nestled in a secluded valley, was the hidden spring. Its waters were crystal clear, but they were blocked by a massive boulder, just as the elders had described. The spring struggled to flow around the obstruction, but its efforts were in vain. Stefan examined the boulder, realizing that moving it would require all his strength. He took a deep breath, gathered his energy, and began to push against the boulder with all his might. His wings beat furiously, and his legs strained as he heaved and shoved, determined to free the spring. For hours, Stefan struggled against the boulder, refusing to give up. His muscles ached, and his feathers were ruffled, but his spirit remained unbroken. Finally, with a mighty push, the boulder shifted and rolled away, freeing the spring. The water gushed forth, sparkling and clear, cascading down the mountainside and replenishing the river below. Exhausted but triumphant, Stefan watched as the river flowed freely once more. He knew that the water would soon reach Willowbrook, bringing life and hope back to his village. With a grateful heart, he began his journey home, his wings carrying him swiftly through the sky. As Stefan approached Willowbrook, he saw the villagers gathered by the riverbank, their faces alight with joy and relief. The river had returned, its waters glistening in the sunlight and nourishing the land. Crops began to revive, and the animals regained their strength. The villagers cheered as Stefan landed gracefully among them. They surrounded him, their voices filled with gratitude and admiration. "You have saved us, Stefan," they exclaimed. "Your bravery and determination have brought life back to Willowbrook." Stefan humbly accepted their praise, his heart swelling with pride. He knew that he had fulfilled his promise to protect his village, just as his ancestors had done before him. The story of his heroic journey spread far and wide, becoming a legend that would be told for generations to come. In the years that followed, Stefan continued to watch over Willowbrook, his presence a symbol of hope and courage. The villagers never forgot the heroic Stork who had saved them from the brink of disaster. And whenever they gathered by the river, they would look up at the sky, knowing that Stefan was watching over them, ready to protect and guide them through any challenge that might come their way.